Grand Rising, everyone. This is Artist of Truth coming to you with another vlog entry. Um, Thanks. Just wanted to say that and get that out of the way. This wonderful day. We're about to start right back into the work week. So I hope that everyone has had a very, very productive and energetic weekend. So, the topic that, as you can see below, this topic is about Mr. Orlando Jones. Mr. Orlando Jones, former comedian, actor. Now he is a writer and producer. Was recently fired from the American God series. I'm not for sure if many of you heard his famous statement in one of the series where he stated amongst a group of slaves that anger gets shit done. So apparently he was fired for not just that remark, but a plethora of other very candid, raw truth that he was sharing, which honestly, I'm going to post that I'm going to post it as well. I'm going to make it very, very easy for those of you out there in the YouTube world to be able to hear it for yourself and, leave your comments. Tell me what you think and what you feel. But he was Mr. Nancy, better known as Orlando Jones, was replaced with a gentleman by the name of Charles Eglee, Eglee. This individual stated that the message that he was sending out to Black America was not was inappropriate. It wasn't the message that should have been sent out, which honestly I found utterly disgusting and asinine for this individual to even say. Reason being that in a lot of movies, series, as it pertains to melanated people, first off, Black women have always been sexualized. They've always, a lot of our highly prominent, highly respected women have always seemed to play a typical stereotype of role, which either results in them being a side chick like Kerry Washington from Scandal, a very, very powerful Black woman, and she's the mistress of a U.S. president. And me personally, I found that utterly disgusting. I found that disgusting and offensive that a Black woman who is very, very educated, very powerful in her own merit, was playing the position of a mistress, a highly educated and powerful mistress. But she still was playing second to a Caucasian Neanderthal. Okay. I didn't like that shit neither. And I didn't watch it very long. All right. Moreover, How to Get Away with Murder. You know, the main character in that show, in that series, I didn't like it as well. You know, it just, it depicted, you know, a black woman in her, in her position, but she still was second. You know, she was strong, she was powerful in her own merit, but she still was second. You know, she wasn't, she was married and laid up with, a Caucasian male. I was just like, okay. I wasn't fond of that either at all. Um, and, and even, you know, even some of our own, even some of our own people are doing, are, I wouldn't say unconsciously, but they are consciously putting out a typical stereotype of black women in a very derogatory, negative manner. And not just black women, but black men as well. Let's see, who can I use as a, oh, Tyler Perry. I don't knock Tyler Perry for, for what he does. I feel that it could be it could be tweaked a little, a little bit better. You know, some of the roles that some of the actors are taking on continuously perpetuate the notion that black people are like this and black people are like that. It's like, okay, we've been seeing and hearing that narrative for so long that now it's getting old. You got to come up with something new and refreshing, something that is out of the norm. But I do understand as well, that the media, which is, controlled by, false Jews and a lot of Caucasian Neanderthals, they're controlled by that. So they pretty much determine what gets into the movie theaters and what doesn't. What will actually be shown in all movie theaters and what will not. Um, Another example, Queen is Slim. I haven't seen the movie yet. I've heard snippets from the movie, and honestly, I'm not even pushed to go and check it out at all because I'm greatly disappointed. Um, in the movie, come to find out that there's a particular face in the in the film that I was under the impression was a woman. Come to find out it was a tranny. So I was like, yeah, here we go. Just still, emasculating men. Um, Queen is Slim. From the information that I gathered from the movie, really portrayed Queen as the lead, and it was like Slim, Slim was just, you know, wasn't the lead in the movie. He wasn't exercising his natural masculinity. It was pretty much the queen taking head of everything, which it still perpetuates that narrative that, oh, women are strong, women can lead men, and there's no such thing as masculinity. We have to do away with masculinity. Masculinity is toxic. But without masculinity, the man, what a lot of people don't understand is without masculinity, no man can lead. No man can lead. No man can protect. Because, and the reason why I say this is because a feminized male is not going to have that in his DNA to stand up for women when they are in need of protection. They're not. They're going to be drawn to running away from what's unfolding. They have just as much fear than the female, than the woman. So it's like, how can a feminized male protect another, protect a woman? They're just as scared as you. So they're not going to protect you. They're too worried about protecting themselves. But that is where masculinity comes in. Because the man is not he is not fearful. He knows whatever's going to happen is going to happen by any means necessary. He's going to stand up and he's going to fight to the death. He's going to stand up for his woman when need be. That is part of masculinity. That is what masculinity is. It's about having that drive. It's about willing to lay your life on the line for your women. Period. So, in the movie Queen and Slim, it had its moments. From what I gather, it had its moments, but then it was like the end result was the queen taking the role of the masculine male. So it's like these these films continuously perpetuate the notion and push this narrative that black men aren't strong. Black men are not displaying or exercising their masculinity. It's like, oh, the narrative of black men is thugs, murderers, rapists, hoodlums, drug dealers, or deadbeat fathers. What else? Yeah, I mean, and moreover, just dumbfounded, just stupid. Like, really? And honestly, that is nowhere remotely close to the narrative of black men. It's not. But, that is the narrative of black men and black women that Charles Egley, he knows about that. You can't be fully numb-minded, and he's not blind to that. He knows that. He sees it every day. But for him to utter those words to Orlando Jones and say that, oh, that's not the narrative that Black America should be receiving. Yes, they should. And the reason why I say it is because when you're mad, you get shit. Things get done. Things get done. I mean, when you're mad, that is the necessary drive that you need to make necessary moves, to make necessary changes. Honestly, to stand the fuck up and just say, you know what? I'm not going to take this anymore. So I'm going to do something about it. Since our typical humble ways, us just saying, we're going to sit back. We're going to wait on, this is God's work. We're going to let Jesus handle, this situation. And then 10, 15, 15 years later, you're still faced with the same, the same issue, the same harm, the same injustice over and over and over again. And Me personally, I feel like this. If you have been consistent doing the same thing and waiting on the same Jesus, or paying homage to someone else's God, and 10 to 15 years later, you still see the same result, you don't see change at all, you're doing something wrong. Something is terribly wrong. That means somewhere in the universe, it is not working out in your favor because you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. So that takes an individual change. You have to be willing to change the narrative. Black people, melanated people have to be willing to change the narrative. That means you can't sit back and just wait on your Jesus, Jehovah, or whatever religious deity that you pray to. That you have to create that change. In order for the narrative to change, it starts with you. So if you're tired of it, you have to be willing to change. And that same narrative still, as long as that narrative is still being pushed, as long as Black people, melanated people continue to subject themselves to these particular roles, then all you're doing is continuing to perpetuate the same narrative over and over again. The only difference is Caucasian Neanderthals are using Black actors and actresses, artists, whether it's rappers, hip hop artists. They are using our own people to continuously push this same narrative, this same negative narrative. Now, the first time a rapper or an artist happens to say something out of pocket, like, let's go ahead and get this Jewish money, keep it kosher, people are apologizing. Why? Why? For the simple fact, these false Jews, they took offense to, they take offense to that. They take offense to that. But the sad part about it is, we don't take offense enough to it to say, hey, stop this shit. And no one else is either. Because, hey, what they say, sex sells, right? Sex, drugs, violence, all of that sells. But who is it really benefiting? It's not benefiting the melanated community. It's not benefiting Black people at all. It is just continuously pushing the narrative of Black people that we are negative, that we are animals, that we're thugs, that we're thieves, we're ghetto, we're loud, we're ignorant, we're stupid, we're rapists, we're dope dealers, we're all of these things, which honestly we're not. But that is the narrative that's being pushed. Conscious artists like No Name and Saba. These are real artists to me. They are real artists to me. Conscious music, conscious rap. They don't receive the necessary attention, radio play, and exposure that they should. Why? Because it's a positive narrative that they're pushing. And those of you who understand and are tired of it to the extent where it's like, damn, you don't even play the radio in your vehicle, that says a lot. I can't stand this. I'm just trying to understand why. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to understand why these kids are doing this nonsense. But again, that is the narrative that is being pushed, At some point, you get tired of it. And things have to change. Things have to change immediately. If not, the younger generation will just continue to adapt to the same nonsense, and it will continue. Hell, it will continue up until the next 4 or 5 generations, until we get to that point that we're willing to change that narrative. We have to take control of that narrative. So, in the meantime, in between time, keep your joy and happiness. Your joy and happiness belong solely unto you. Now stop giving away your joy and happiness to undesirable individuals. It's not healthy. All right? So stay in love, protect each other, and I'll talk with you again soon.